Hello and welcome back to the MCC Bedrock server. Today we are playing Ace Race as we have already played Sands of Time a couple of days ago. I'm going to be very straightforward. I have already played Ace Race, unlike Sands of Time, which I was playing for the first time the other day. My reasoning is that I tried to record an Ace Race video about 7 hours ago, but I did not like my commentary, so I decided to come back and give it another shot. But to get straight to the point with a summary of the game is pretty much exactly like it is on MCC, but with two major differences. One being that the laps are a lot shorter than they are in MCC, and two being that you only play a single lap. And as a result of both of these combined, the game is very short, lasting only about a minute, whereas on MCC it lasts close to like 10 to 15 minutes. And also as a result of this, people have optimized this game into oblivion, as you should expect from any parkour players. I personally haven't broken the 1 minute mark yet, but I'm pretty sure parkour warrior players have gotten well below that. And that moves me into my first talking point, where I was wondering how well this game would survive on MCC. And my main reason for arguing for its success would be that Parkour Warrior Dojo, I think, would have a very similar format to what Ace Race would have if Ace Race were ever implemented. And Parkour Warrior Dojo is a successful MCC Island game in my opinion. I think that if the game were implemented in a kind of format similar to Dojo, where they released courses every single month or so, and allowed players to just play that course for a month and optimize it and get the best routing that they can and best scores that they can, the game could pop off. But at the same time, I also thought that a game like Rocket Spleef Rush would pop off on MCC, and the game is probably one of the least played games on the island right now. And I think this is much against a lot of people's expectations for how the game would do, and I'm curious if anybody has any reasons for why they think Rocket Spleef Rush didn't survive on MCC Island the way people thought it would. Because I thought that it would do great. It had the replayability, it had the fan base. A lot of players like watching Rocket Spleef Rush and MCC in general. So it was just kind of logical that it would survive on MCC Island. It had all the features that it would need. So I'm kind of at a loss as to why the game wouldn't succeed. If anybody has any theories about that, I would really like to hear, because I honestly don't know. I am curious as to whether people think that Ace Race could survive on MCC Island though, because the main argument against it is the lack of replayability. Ace Race would be pretty much impossible to have randomized maps on or have a big map pool on due to the fact that it would just get optimized instantly, and the amount of players that might want to play it multiple times is probably pretty low. But at the same time, this argument also exists for games such as Parkour Warrior Dojo. But Parkour Warrior Dojo has a very dedicated fan base, and I think is an example that this theory might not be true, that a lack of replayability might not work for a game. Because you have players in the Parkour Warrior Dojo community that even a month after the maps have been released are still optimizing their runs, trying to get better scores. And I think that this might also hold true for Ace Race. But I'm curious to see what people's thoughts on this are, because I could also see Ace Race just dying because people don't want to play it multiple times. Also, that's a new record for my score. I'm almost breaking that 1 minute 6 second mark. I want to break the 1 minute mark, but I don't know where I need to optimize my routing. I don't know where I can chop off another 6 seconds though, because even though there are micro adjustments and optimizations I can make, I don't know if there are enough of them that I can get rid of another 6 seconds other than finding another major shortcut I'm not using. So I don't know what other routing I have to keep an eye out for. I may just look up a video on it later, but for now I've just been trying to figure out my own routing on my own. Ooh, that was a pretty good jump right there. I didn't even know you could make that. I always hit these trees. I've managed to make this perfect boost once, but I've never been able to replicate it, and that was really bad right there. Oh, that time save at the beginning is all just going to be lost because of that. But regardless whether it'll survive on MCC Island or not, I'm definitely enjoying the game on Bedrock. I could see myself spending some time on here just trying to get the best score possible, especially after I look up a tutorial on how to actually play this map, because I am definitely not taking the optimal route with some of the scores I've been seeing. But I'm probably just going to end the video after this run, because there's not much to talk about on Ace Race. It's pretty much exactly how you'd expect it to be if it were implemented on MCC Island. They introduce a map, you optimize that map into oblivion until the highest score is reached, and it's just a couple of milliseconds separating the top runs. And you rinse and repeat. Once again, if anyone wants to leave in the comments whether they think that Ace Race can survive on MCC Island, I am really curious to hear other people's opinions. I am also curious to hear people's opinions on why on why Rocket Peak Rush didn't survive in MCC Island, because I thought, and many other people thought, that Rocket Peak Rush would be a great addition to the island. And it's probably one of the least played games on the island right now, which is a shocker to me and many other people. So if anybody has any opinions on that, I would also like to hear that. But anyways, thank you all for watching. This video is very short, but there's not much to talk about since Ace Race is kind of self-explanatory in that it's just a racing game and you just run laps around until you get the fastest run that you can. So next up will be Grid Runners. I don't know much about the game except that I think it's really lacking the replayability because I think you just play the same rooms over and over again. I don't know anything about the rooms though, so I'm curious to see what those are like. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the Grid Runners video. Bye-bye!